Hey guys, MA Fish Guy here from Viking Aquatics. Now, I just released a video a couple of days ago about the Alita AL-60 Air Pump, and I was told it was a linear piston air pump, but I've actually been corrected on that one. So it's a linear diaphragm air pump. Now, of course, that made me question, it performs just like the linear piston air pump. It's quiet, it has no problem pumping air to all these aquariums. So what's the difference? So I've written down some notes, done some research, and I want to kind of go over the differences versus a linear piston air pump versus a linear diaphragm air pump, then a linear diaphragm versus a regular diaphragm air pump. So let's learn something. All right, so let's give you a little bit of background. So I have 40 fish tanks running, sponge filters in every single aquarium. The aquariums range in tank size from 10 gallon all the way up to the 120. So there's quite a different range of sponge filter sizes, tank sizes, airline length, stuff like that. So I needed a pump that could do that. Now, I was between the Gemco and the Alita. Now, before diving into all the little details and stuff like that, I talked to people who had the Alita air pump and swore by it. Same thing with the Gemco. So I personally knew people with the Alita, went to their fish rooms, checked it out, and I really liked it. So I got the Alita AL-60. Now, I thought it was a linear piston air pump because that's what I was told. So it doesn't really spell it out on the websites. So I dove down into it after someone commented on one of my videos saying, actually, that's a diaphragm. So I wanted to look into it to see what the difference was because it performs just like I've been told a linear piston air pump would go. So I've written down some notes, gotten some details on what the difference is between a linear piston air pump and a linear diaphragm air pump, which is what that is. So a linear piston air pump uses a piston that moves back and forth in the cylinder to compress air. The advantages are more durable and they're capable of a higher air output and pressure. For applications, mainly large scale fish rooms, aquaponic setups, big water volume things. So noise and vibration, they say it's a little bit more noisier just because of the air output and the pressure compared to actually linear diaphragm air pumps. But like I said, I've yet to hear a linear piston air pump. So if you can tell the difference, if you've had both, please let us know down below which one is quieter. So for a linear diaphragm air pump, mechanism uses a diaphragm that flexes back and forth to create air movement driven by an electromagnetic linear motor. Advantages: quieter operation, lower energy consumption, and better suited for low to medium projects. So applications: aquariums, ponds, smaller aquaponic setups, maintenance diaphragms, usually every 2 to 3 years they say to replace. Whereas the linear piston air pumps, they're saying 8 to 10 years you can get out of it continuous use, and I've heard even up to 15 to 20. So the key features between the linear piston air pump and a linear diaphragm air pump would be air output for the linear piston air pump is higher than the diaphragm. The pressure is higher than your linear diaphragm. The noise level, they say that the piston air pump, the linear piston, is a little bit noisier than the linear diaphragm. Durability goes to the linear piston air pump, and then for applications, linear piston air pump wins with the higher and bigger application versus the smaller ones. So that brought me to my next question. What's the difference between a linear diaphragm and a diaphragm air pump? So the biggest thing in that was a diaphragm air pump uses a motor with a rotary oscillating motion to move the diaphragm back and forth, creating air pressure. Usually smaller, and it's a simpler design, like in your smaller air pumps that you can get at the aquarium stores. Suitable for light duty applications, 1 to 3 tanks, and often found in smaller aquariums or devices that require low air output. It's affordable, easy to find, it's lightweight, it's compact, but it does have limited air output and pressure, and it's not ideal for the large setups. The difference between them is the linear diaphragm uses an electromagnetic linear motor, which is the difference between that and a diaphragm. So that was the biggest one that I could find for what the difference is. So for features, the Diaphragm air pump is a motor with a crank cam system. And then the linear diaphragm, the electromagnetic one. So the air output for a regular diaphragm is lower than the other one. The noise level, they're significantly louder because of the motions created to make air. Energy efficiency, moderate for the diaphragm. The linear diaphragms are much more energy efficient. That's why I was told they actually use 20% less energy than your linear piston air pumps. So the application you want to use for smaller setups, you want to use just the regular diaphragm versus a linear diaphragm for the larger setups. So I hope this answers some questions. I apologize if I can't get into the details and exactly engineeringly wise how everything works and how everything moves and the motions. But what I can say is that this pump right here, it's super quiet. It was easy to set up. It's set up just the same as everything else that I've watched for linear piston air pumps. I used a 1-inch PVC. It's worked fine. I have a pressure release valve over here that I've made, but 40 tanks almost for that one pump, and it's doing phenomenal. I can't complain. It was $200. It was pretty comparable to any of the linear piston air pumps, so I guess only time will tell if I'm going to be upgrading or changing to a linear piston air pump. But so far, with the linear diaphragm, I have no complaints. Apparently that electromagnetic is the key to quietness and making it more energy efficient than what I was hoping it would be. So, like I said, anything I could hope for, I've gotten out of this air pump. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, and thank you to the person who commented saying it's a diaphragm, because honestly I learned quite a bit on what the difference is, and that way I could educate myself. So thank you for watching, guys. Check out the rest of my videos. Hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.